Ryan Reynolds is one of the most popular actors in the world. Or is he? Yes, of course he is. But I don't know if that will last much longer, because today, Ryan Reynolds is becoming more and more well known, not for his fun and hilarious films, but for his businesses like Mint Mobile and Wrexham. And even though some people may say that his movies are being worked on in the background, I don't think that's the whole story. I think his actions recently reflect a larger change in what Ryan Reynolds wants to do with the remainder of his career.
Cut, please. Perfect. Moving on.
From the beginning of his career in 1991 till basically Deadpool in 2016, Ryan Reynolds really wasn't known for anything substantial except for a few pretty solid but lowbrow humor comedy films. To be fair, leading up to Deadpool, he was in a lot more popular movies than he had been in the early parts of his career, which makes sense. That's what happens for actors. But since Deadpool, he has been all over the screen as one of easily the most famous actors in the world. And that is still the case. But what we have seen from him lately is a lot more effort being put into his businesses and his entrepreneurial endeavors. But I believe a switch was flipped in his mind in 2016 while he was trying to promote Deadpool that would alter his path from the comedic and charismatic character we fell for on screen to a business mogul fighting for ad space on my silly YouTube videos about actors today. Before Ryan Reynolds got his hands on Deadpool, it was a dead film. Production houses just weren't gonna put up the show because they didn't have faith in it, but Ryan Reynolds knew that he had a very good movie in it, and he did it.
I've been trying to get it made for 11 years, which is just, yeah, like crazy. It was killing, it was the worst relationship I've ever been in.
But that moment, that fighting for something that you've created and you've built and finally getting to see it come to fruition, change something in Ryan. I would assume that Ryan Reynolds is making all of these companies and joining all of these efforts because he's excited by the work that he is doing. And frankly, maybe the film work that he had been doing in the past just doesn't excite him the way it used to. But that's not a bad thing, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think we need to respect that people's wants and needs change over time. And I'm just gonna throw the elephant out of the room. I don't know the saying. But Ryan is making a ton of money doing what he is doing, and this gives him the right to pick and choose what he wants to do. He no longer has to take up the cheesy mid-budget rom-coms that more or less defined his early years. This is very similar to the story of Chris Evans, but instead of using his financial freedom to open businesses, Chris took the time to spread his wings as an actor and grow into roles significantly different than Captain America. But Ryan doesn't seem to have that desire. He has the same ability as Chris to act in whatever and whichever medium he chooses, but his desired medium is ads for his businesses at the moment instead of feature films. And because of this, Ryan may not be much of an actor anymore. But that doesn't mean I don't think Ryan Reynolds is ever going to act again. I believe he's going to work on a passion project every year or two to stay in touch with his creative side, but I would suspect that we're going to see a lot more of his businesses and ads all over the internet and probably on TV. Hey, just wanted to step in and ask you all to subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. My next video is going to be a pretty eye-opening story about Margot Robbie. So if you think you're interested in that, consider subscribing, but back to the video. Now, I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, but to be fair, if we look back at his acting career, he wasn't exactly an artistic actor. And that just means that I think he is very much so a comedian on screen. And because of that, if I were looking at his career, 5 years ago before he started doing all these entrepreneurial endeavors, I could have imagined Ryan Reynolds following a path more similar to Will Ferrell and Adam Sandler, where he begins to play a larger part in the direction of his comedy films, think Grown Ups and Step Brothers, instead of acting in more artistic films like Chris Evans did. Sure, Ryan is doing that with Deadpool, but I'm not sure if he's going to continue doing that after that series comes to a close. But because we see all over our timelines on Twitter and all over my YouTube videos for some reason, Mint Mobile ads and ads for the Wrexham FC documentary, and this all indicates that Ryan Reynolds wants to work on something other than his acting career at the moment, and that's these businesses. And as a fan, it was hard to not be upset when I started thinking about this. But Ryan is still in the limelight, and he's probably going to stay there for a long, long time, no matter where he decides decides to focus his efforts in the future. His businesses are doing well, and honestly, it's refreshing to see a celebrity passionately advertising a budget-friendly phone company instead of a gross money-grabbing NFT scheme. Ryan, and Blake Lively for that matter, are doing some good in the world with their businesses. They're upfront and humanizing these companies in a way that makes them feel less corporate, and I think that is a positive change. It's similar to what Logan Paul and KSI have done with Prime, and it's a major step forward for creator and celebrity-run businesses. It might just come at the expense of Ryan Reynolds doing a few less film projects than some people may want. Hey, listen, Ryan Reynolds might be stunning, but he's still a person, and he only has 24 hours in the day like you and me. So the time that he's putting into Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, and Wrexham FC is gonna take time away from other things. So that just means we're gonna have to wait and see what Ryan Reynolds decides to become in the future. But don't be surprised if we see a lot less of Ryan on the big screen. But if you like the big screen and you like learning about actors, why don't you click on this other video where I talked about why some of the best actors in the world are out of their minds. It was silly, but I make some decent points. Check it out. Thank you for watching. Bye.